Hello and good morning. It is a fine April 13th morning. I am actually on my way to go hiking. I'm going to go hike with some friends today. But so I jotted a few notes down real quick so that I could film this and, get, this Today in History episode done and over with. So that sounded bad, but So, without further ado, today in history, on April 13th, on this day, 1743, the third U.S. president, Thomas Jefferson, is born. Also, on a side note, it is on this day in 1943, his birthday, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial is dedicated in Washington, D.C. on this day in 1943. So, also on this day, we have some births to announce. So, on this day in 1866, Butch Cassidy of the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid fame, American outlaw. He and his partner went to Bolivia, tried to rob a train down there, and then the Bolivian army went and shot him dead. But at any rate, Butch Cassidy was born on this day in 1866. Also, Samuel Beckett. No, not the guy from Quantum Leap. Samuel Beckett was an Irish author, and he was born on this day in 1906. So, 1964. There's a couple of good ones here. On this day in 1964, Sidney Poitier, an amazing actor and an awesome, phenomenal actor. I love his work. Sidney Poitier, in 1964, he won his very first Best Actor award at the Academy Awards. And what made it significant was that he was the first African American to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. And he did that in 1964. I failed to write down the name of the movie, but it was in 1963. It was Lilies of something, I can't remember. But an amazing actor. Love the guy's work. So he's yeah. Speaking of other African-American firsts, also on this day in 1997, there's this little thing called the Masters Tournament. It's a golf thing. I'm not a golfer. It's not my thing. But I do recall that it was headline news. And, and because this kid was on fire and he was an amazing golfer, if you're into that. But Tiger Woods on this day in 1997, he won his very first Masters tournament, and it was huge because that was the first time that an African American had won the Masters tournament. So, kudos to him. So, to round out this day in history, why not have a military coup? Sure, why not? On this day in 2002, Hugo Chavez, president of Venezuela, is restored to power after having had a military coup led by a businessman by the name of Pedro Carmona Estanga. He led this military coup the day before, ousted Chavez from office, only to have him get ousted the next day, and Hugo is restored back to power. So that's what happened today in 2002. On a side note, it probably would have been better for everyone involved had they managed to see to it that Hugo Chavez was never president again. But anyone who doesn't know, Hugo Chavez was a kind of a dictator president of Venezuela. He wouldn't have even come on my radar had it not been for the fact that I recall back then that he raised oil prices for us. We actually, side note here, so for anyone who thinks that we get the bulk of our oil from the Middle East, that would be flawed logic, because the reality is, especially back in this time, 78% of our oil came from Venezuela. 2% of our oil came from the Middle East, and the rest of it was homegrown. So it was a pretty big deal for us when Chavez, who is clearly anti-American and is a bully and a thug and a dictator and not a nice guy, started raising oil prices. And he was a member of OPEC, and I remember even way back then I had thought that we should remove ourselves from doing business with OPEC, but that's for another conversation some other time. But yeah, he was not a nice guy, and I remember him getting on my radar because of his oil pricing antics, and he just wasn't a very nice guy. So so there was a coup. He was taken out of office only to be restored the next day, and you could bet that there were certain heads that rolled because of especially it being a military coup. You could bet that those that were involved in that military coup probably faced a very nasty execution as a result of it. So, on another side note, my buddy Steve, it is his birthday today. He turns 49. So I want to give Steve a shout out and wish him a happy birthday. I can honestly say that I will call him an old man because he will in turn do it right back at me in 13 days. Yes, my buddy is 13 days older than I am. I've known him since junior high, and we have been friends for at least a good solid 20 years or so. 15 years or so. I mean, I knew who he was back then in junior high, but we were really friends. So, yeah. Happy birthday, Steve. Hope it's a good one for you. Enjoy your day. I know you will. So, with that, this is going to conclude this day in history. And I'm going to go hiking. So, I will talk to you guys soon, and we will do this all over again tomorrow for April 14th. All right. Catch you later. Bye.